The story Interlopers by Saki is an example of situational irony because you think help is coming, but it is actually wolves that eat them. Situational irony is when something happens that completely contradicts your expectation. Interlopers is about two families in a feud, and the head of both families meet in the woods and get stuck under a tree. Cool. So Alice, you've got all the right parts in this intro paragraph. They're just in the wrong order. This should be your final sentence in this paragraph. This should be the first sentence in your paragraph right here, and this should be the, oops, not what I intended to do. And finally, this last one should be the second sentence in this paragraph. Minor changes, you know, should be pretty easy to just copy and paste those. Make sure that when you write the name of the story, you write the entire name of the story. Right? The story is called The Interlopers. And make sure that you're using capital letters, right, for titles and names. Yeah, and I'll just be interested to see what this looks like after everything is kind of mixed around. There might be some additional flow changes with that. So when you get this all mixed around in the right way, call me over and I'll have another look at it. The Interlopers is a good example of situational irony. When head feuding families meet and get stuck under a tree, they eventually become friends. Okay. I think what you mean is when the heads of two feuding families meet and get stuck under a tree, they eventually become friends. They decide to yell. They decide to yelling together will get help sooner, but instead it attracts wolves. So I'm sure you could hear me kind of stumble over that a little bit. That's because we've got a little bit of awkward phrasing in this, two yelling together. I think what you mean is that they decide to yell together. Or maybe that's not what you meant. Maybe you meant they decide yelling together will get help sooner, but instead it attracts wolves. I think that's what you meant, and that's fine. What you want to do though is don't reveal the whole wolves part just yet, because you're going to say that in your quote and in your explanation. So what you should do is just delete that piece of cake, right? And now you want to just specify, you know, after calling for help, the men see figures approaching, right? And then, of course, you always need some kind of an intro phrase to transition into your quote. So the text says, "Are they your men?" asked George. "No," said Ulrich. "Who are they?" asked George quickly. "Wolves." This is situational irony because you would expect their friendship to help them get saved by their men, but the wolves find them first. Right, can you specify? Can you be a bit more specific? You expect their friendship to help them to bring their you expect them to help them survive, right? Let's say that, to help them survive. But it's ironically it's their friendship that actually kills them, right? So can you find a way to replace this with what I've just said, just specifying that it's their friendship that actually kills them in the end? Funny enough. George and Ulrich, make sure that you've got, you know, proper spelling. Think by yelling together it would help sooner. They would get help sooner, but the wolves hear them first. The Interlopers is a great example of situational irony. The irony helps reinforce the theme, which is do not make a big deal out of small things. I think I can see where you're going with that. This sentence seems out of place. I think I would just delete it entirely, and then start with this, and then go on to, which is not to make a big deal out of small things. And then what can people learn by paying attention to the tragedy of Ulrich and George? That is what your final sentence should be, and it should be nice and general. You know, don't give me a specific life instance of when it might help. Just say, you know, something to the effect of, you know, it can help you, you know, keep things in perspective, or it can help you know what's important and what's not, or something like that. All right. So Alice, you've got some things to fix. You're on your way though. Let me know if you have any questions about any of the comments that I've made. Please make sure that you address all of the comments, not just the ones that I wrote down. There are some that I just spoke. You'll be expected to address those comments as well, so you may need to watch this video 1 or 2 more times in order to make sure that you have everything down. Alright, thank you so much, Alice. Appreciate your effort on this. Looking forward to read the final draft.